In 2020, I tasked myself with obtaining every completion possible in the Sonic franchise on Xbox, and along this arduous journey, I have gone through every type of Sonic game that there is, from racing to tennis, from classic to modern, and with every completion over the past few years, my list has only grown shorter with a handful left to complete until more eventually come along. Last month, after many grueling hours, I was able to complete one of the more difficult Sonic games, Sonic Unleashed, and now I set my eyes towards another game. This next game holds the title of being the rarest Sonic completion to date. At the time of making this video, only 85 people in the world have this game 100% completed, at least according to True Achievements, and I'm looking to become the 86th. Of course, we're talking about the highly controversial game, Sonic Freeriders. Released all the way back in 2010, Sonic Freeriders was an Xbox 360 exclusive that utilized the power of the Kinect to make the game a fully motion-controlled experience. It's because of that alone that I believe this game is such a rare completion. Now, recently this game has had quite the resurgence due to the modding community making this game fully playable with a controller. However, since I'm doing this for the achievements, I'm not risking JTagging my 360, which means we're gonna complete this the old-fashioned way. Beginning this game, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I had heard the horror stories about this game before, and I know from personal experiences just how finicky the Kinect can be. I decided that the best route would be to go through the story mode so that I can learn the 16 different courses, as well as get myself accustomed to the mechanics of the game before tackling things like the time trials and multiplayer modes. Starting off with the story mode was actually a good time. While the story isn't anything exceptional, it is serviceable, and I'm glad that it's there in the first place. The story itself is nothing more than static images that have voice acting over them, but it does a good job of portraying the different motivations of the numerous teams in the game, as well as alluding to some twists that come later on. For those who don't know, this is also the first game that current Sonic voice actor Roger Craig Smith appears in as Sonic.
One last race left to run today!
So, while the story itself is pretty basic, it's broken up into segments much like the old adventure games, where you experience the story from different perspectives. You start out having access to both Team Heroes, which is our main guys Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, as well as Team Babylon, which is composed of Jet, Wave, and Storm. These characters originated from the Riders series and have since been featured in other projects like the IDW comics. I haven't played a Riders game before this one, so this was my first time playing as these characters. Team Babylon are not chummy with Sonic and his friends, so being able to play as a team that wants to take Sonic down was great. I especially liked the character of Jet, who wanted badly to prove he was better than Sonic. When you go through each team's mission, every character has a different challenge that you have to complete, and in order to obtain an achievement later on for obtaining every gear, we need to S-rank every single mission in the game, of which there are 43 of them. Once we complete every S-rank, it will give us access to Sonic's special gear that allows him to turn into Super Sonic. Now, these challenges can vary in difficulty and type. Some are very simple. They'll just want you to fly through rings by extending your arms and bringing your arms in. Others can be a bit more challenging by making you collect a certain amount of rings in a given time. These missions are also dependent on the character that you're playing. For instance, the strong characters like Knuckles, Storm, and Vector get challenges where you have to punch certain objects in a given time. But most of the time, what you'll be doing in these challenges is using a speed character like Sonic, Shadow, or Jet in a race between 1 and 3 laps. This will often be against every competitor, but it gets a bit more fun when it's a rival showdown. Now, a lot of these challenges took me multiple attempts, and I won't lie, when I was playing this game for hours at a time, I was sweating and losing my patience. If you don't get the S rank, not only is your time wasted, but it takes a toll on your stamina as well. This isn't a game that most people can play for long hours at a time because of this. While admittedly the Kinect was reading well enough most of the time while playing this game, you still had to memorize the course and controls and really just hone your skill. But with enough determination, I was eventually able to make my way through Team Heroes and Team Babylon's missions. After doing this, it opened up Team Rose and Dark to me. This is just more of the same, but now you're tasked with doing challenges on the expert level maps. Once again, it really came down to just learning the course, and I found it to be a bit easier as I started getting better at the game. After all of that is the finale, which is a 3-race mission against Eggman and Metal Sonic. Now, at this point, I still had some S ranks left to clean up, but I decided that I'd start knocking out some time trials since I felt pretty well versed with the maps, because you get a really good opportunity to learn them in the main story. For these time trials, I mainly just stuck to using my boy Sonic and his regular gear. There are boards that probably would have made these time trials a whole lot easier for me, but I needed to conserve all my rings for a few reasons. The first was an achievement for having 10,000 rings all at once, and the other was making sure that I could buy all the boards and parts from Omochao in one go. Now, I managed fairly well in the time trials, hitting the goals over and over again. These time trials were still a bit of a grind, so I found that blasting some Linkin Park helped me get through these. It felt pretty nostalgic boarding through these levels with that blasting. Doing these time trials, you had to make use of as many shortcuts as you could in order to make the times. You could hit different jumps that led to secret areas, or use different gear parts for a boost in your gauge and time. It got to a point where I felt really comfortable playing this game, and soon enough I had beaten not only all the normal time trials, but the expert as well. This was pretty awesome because each time trial popped an achievement, and after crushing all of these, I really felt I could go back and S-rank the rest of the story mode. But before I did that, I had some other achievements that I figured I'd get out of the way. I figured I'd do the tag races as well as the relay races in order to earn more rings. These achievements both take 2 people, but for the relay race, I was able to do this on my own by jumping in and out of the view of the Kinect to switch players. I looked incredibly foolish, but after doing all 16 courses and getting the achievement, I was going to need some backup for the tag race achievement. The tag race game mode is a split screen mode where you and your friend are chained together, so you both need to be doing good in order to make it through the levels. I enlisted the help of my girlfriend and laid out some ground rules to her.
You must obey every command I give you without question.
Yes, sir.
Should I tell you to run, you run. Should I tell you to abandon me and save yourself, you must do so.
If you thought the Kinect read horribly for one person, let me just tell you what a pain it was to cram 2 people into a space and play this mode. The Kinect really became an issue here, hardly reading any of our movements. We were so close that we almost smacked each other in the face a few times. Being chained together, our characters kept bumping into each other in the most annoying ways possible, which made these courses incredibly painful with how long it took to finish them. Luckily, we only needed to finish all 16 courses in tag mode and not win. If we needed to win, I honestly think this might have been impossible for us. After somehow convincing my girlfriend numerous times that we were almost done, and begging her not to quit, we were able to make it through and nab a really annoying achievement. At this point on our achievement journey, I decided to go back and finish S-ranking all the campaign missions, which honestly wasn't too bad. There were a few missions here and there that held me up, like this cream mission where you had to get the angle just right in order to hit the next ring, as well as this mission with Storm where you had to hit every single stone in a very short amount of time. Besides those though, it wasn't too bad, and we finally had all 43 S ranks, which gave us the Chaos Emerald gear. With that out of the way, I thought I had accumulated enough rings to buy every gear and gear part that I needed, so I took all of my rings to Omochao, and the prices for these parts literally blew my mind. This man Omochao really knows how to run up prices. Not only did he take me for everything I had once, but he did it again after I was forced to grind for more rings. I'm never dealing with him again. I'd rather take all of my rings to the Black Market Chow from Sonic Adventure 2. Anyways, we are closing in now to the last few achievements we need to 100% the game. A few of the miscellaneous achievements that I needed to grind for were riding 30 soda rockets as well as hitting 30 rivals with T-shots. Now, these were a bit weird for me because I was so accustomed to going fast in this game and trying to stay in first. But for these two, I needed to be anywhere from 8th place to 12th place in order to get these items, and that just felt kind of unnatural to me. The soda cans I knocked out pretty fast, but the T-shots took a bit longer since you actually had to hit a target with them. And while it was fun sniping the competition, Getting the tee shots was pretty rare, but after an hour or so of grinding, I was able to nab this one as well. Finally, all I had left now was 2 easy achievements, one to win with every character in the game, as well as one to win with every gear in the game. And while this was easy, man did it take a long time to go through every single character and make sure I used every single gear. Eventually though, we made it through and I was able to obtain both, which made me the 86th person to have this Sonic game fully completed. And while I still do have problems with this game, I found myself having a really fun time with it overall. The story wasn't anything noteworthy, but still a good time, and the longer that I spent mastering the courses and perfecting the shortcuts and jumps, the more I really appreciated the game. It had the Sonic formula that I've become accustomed to, where you need to keep repeating the levels to master them. But I think that the big issue most people probably faced back when this game came out was space. If you don't have space to move around, the Kinect is not going to read you correctly, which leads to an experience that, in my opinion, is entirely devoid of any fun. I'd actually recommend checking this game out on Kinect if you can. With the Xbox 360 store shutting down in about a year, this game will be going with it, and I think that if you are a major Sonic fan like me, you might find some enjoyment in this game. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the modding community has made this playable on PC, so if you don't have space for a Kinect or you don't want to move around, maybe check it out that way. The game isn't perfect, but I really think it's more fun than it's given credit for. I could just have Stockholm Syndrome though, I'm not really sure after the numerous hours that I sunk into completing this. Thank you all for sticking around for this video. I had a ton of fun sharing this journey of completing this game with you guys. Let me know if you'd like to see a video like this detailing the next Sonic game that I'm trying to complete, which right now is Sonic 06. Subscribe if you haven't already to keep up to date with all things Sonic, and make sure to check out the video here as well. As always, I wish you all the best, take care, peace.